Warri Refinery is in the news this morning, and for good reason too. Let's begin with the Blueprint newspaper. Warri Refinery reopening is real. Plant running, Kyari tells Nigerians. It's a remarkable way to end year 2024, says elated Tinubu. Newpeng hails restreaming. CNDP tasks NNPCL on transparent oil sales. Story is on page 16. Nigerian Tribune, Warri Refinery revs back to life. Tinubu commends NNPCL. The story is on page 11. This Nigeria, Warri Refinery comes alive to ease worries over petroleum products. Tinubu upbeat lauds NNPCL's reopening of 125,000 barrels per day facility. Details on the inside pages. The Daily Times newspaper has the same story. Warri Refinery returns, produces 125,000 barrels of oil per day. Details on the front page, and it continues on the inside pages of the paper. Look at the front page of Nigerian News Direct. Warri Refinery commences production of AGO kerosene. Refinery operating at 60% capacity, that's according to Kyari. Our plan to ensure energy efficiency and security on course. That story is on page 14 of the paper. To other stories, Business Day has FX pressure seen easing on refineries' resumption. Warri running at 60% capacity, according to Tinubu. Naira rebound predicted on lower dollar demand. Check the details on the inside pages. Vanguard newspaper has as its lead story, The Secret Scourge, how use of erotic stimulants threaten Nigerians' health. Oh dear. Why men turn to enhancers, abuse shortcuts to death. That's coming from NAFDAC. Experts raise alarm over rising use among youths. Details on page 14. The Guardian newspaper, Person of the Year, Nigerians in diaspora from broken dreams to new global value chain. What does all of that mean? The story is right there on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Daily Trust newspaper, 2025 budget, 20 MDAs to spend 14.3 billion naira on computers. Yeah, that's it right there on the front page. Justice Ministry strips vehicles to go up 2 billion naira. Experts, CSO, ask National Assembly to scrutinize proposals. And there's some infographics on the front page to give you some further insight on the front page of Daily Trust newspaper. New Telegraph, counter-terrorism, FG to deploy radio frequency GNSS jammers, according to sources. And look at the rider to the story. As terrorists resort to drone attacks, troops sustain aggressive posture across theaters. Gunmen abduct 2 priests in Yola. The story on the inside pages of the paper. These are the papers we have for you this morning.
Well, there you have it, Warri Refinery hugging the headlines this morning. Incidentally, we started off the show with the Port Harcourt Refinery yesterday. And of course, this flows into the conversation around our refineries. So this is a second refinery to come on stream, according to the NNPCL. First, we had the old Port Harcourt Refinery coming up, operating at some capacity, and now the Warri Refinery coming up. So Nigerian Tribune as well, start from this morning just to yet again spotlight that story. Warri Refinery revs back to life. Tinubu commends NNPCL. Again, this just came unannounced, I would say, to some people. A couple of people knew about this, certainly, but for a majority of Nigerians, they probably didn't see this coming. But what's the history? Well, the Warri Refinery was inaugurated in 1978. So you do the math. 1978, that's when the Warri Refinery was inaugurated, but it's been comatose for most of the time. So it's back to life. The president says it is operating at what, just a little above 50%. So 60% it is operating, and that translates to 75,000 barrels per day. Don't forget that the Port Harcourt Refinery is operating at 70%. As at the last count, that's accounting for 42,000 barrels per day. So give or take, we have just about 107 100,000 barrels per day. I hope my math serves me right there. For these, or 117,000 barrels per day that these refineries, that's Warri and Port Harcourt refineries, are operating on. Clearly, there'll still be lots of questions asked. Would people ask if this is a blending plant yet again, or it's a real refinery? Definitely this is something we'll stay on. But what a way to end the year for the oil industry. And of course, the Nigerian Tribune talks about the burden and the prospects in 2025, perhaps something you also want to catch up on, so you get a sense of what Nigeria is faced with. And just one more, the Osun fowl thief released from prison. So this is one story that has been making the rounds. Perhaps you want to get more details this morning. Kayla.
Indeed, congratulations to all of us. That's such a lovely end of the year present that they gave us there. The opening of the Warri Refinery, of course, is going to have its ups and downs. But, you know, like we said yesterday, we were talking about the Port Harcourt Refinery. Flood us with so much information that we are bored. Okay, don't hoard the information and then leave speculations to continue permeating around, and then you now start to react to the speculations. No, flood us with information about how the Warri Refinery is working. We're at 60%. Oh, we've moved to 61. We're now at 62. Disturb us. Disturb us with the information about how that refinery is working, so we can all just, we either get tired of, you know how we are as Nigerians, we either get tired of you, we just feel like, well, at least they're talking to us, you know, and then you can get to work and do what it is that you need to do. That is for the Warri Refinery. But I'm going to take a look at the Vanguard newspaper today. Politics has been happening even at the end of the year. You would think that everyone will calm down towards the end of the year, but the politics continued. So everyone is speaking to Peter Odili right now from the Vanguard there at the top. Forgive Wike's utterances against you, ministers, kinsmen, beg Odili. And that is coming, you know, with the recent story about the FCT minister and Peter Odili and all the back and forth. Well, they're asking Mr. Odili to forgive the utterances of the minister. What were those utterances? Something about resuscitating somebody. But you can get more details on page 7 of the Vanguard. And then Akpabio is also in the news. Injustice is Nigeria's major problem. Mentioning that because that is going to be one of the major topics we look at today, the justice system. What's Akpabio talking about? Page 9 will give you more. And then this one is a small advice to the men in our country, to the men that we love in our country. Please take a copy of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And if you are one of those who patronize these drugs, maybe try to understand what you're putting into your body. The gains that you hope to achieve from taking these stimulants, is it equal to the problems that could arise from you taking them? Is that a worthy balance? And who are these people selling these stimulants? Who's checking what? The headline there from Vanguard, and they're calling it a secret scourge. How the use of erotic stimulants is threatening the health of Nigerians. Page 14 and 15 of the Vanguard are carrying it today. And they're talking about the reasons why people try to use these enhancers. And then, of course, we're seeing from NAFDAC, the abuse is a shortcut to death. Death, pleasure, death, pleasure. Maybe weigh it out in your mind. And then experts are raising alarm over the rising use among youth. This has now become a health issue, one that NAFDAC has to speak up against, one that we have to start thinking about as people. All right, so check your children's drawers. I know we like to give children their privacy now, but if you have young boys in the house, start to check around, see what's going on with them. And for the people who patronize these things, I mean, it's crazy. You can't go anywhere without someone trying to sell you some enhancer to give your husband, you know. So imagine how they're marketing it all over the place. So please be a little bit more mindful, be a little bit more careful, and read up on this story, pages 14 and 15 of the Vanguard newspaper. It may be something people giggle at, but now it's gotten to where it's a crisis, where NAFDAC has to weigh in. So please get a copy of the Vanguard and read up on that story, understand what's going on, and keep yourself healthy. Well, those are the headlines this morning. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, our conversation on the justice system will begin. Stay with us.